We have set up a Patreon. We have set up a Patreon.
Patreon, however you want to say it.
A Patreon. We have set up a Patreon.
What that does is that just helps us get things like
Petrol,
train tickets, petrol
yeah.
for you. And it helps us get to bigger and better guests. We'll be doing cool little things on there, like
Nice little giveaways.
You can put in your questions, and then we can talk to you. So yeah, please go on to
www.patreon.com/overrated everything.
We're on. Cool. Tomo.
Yes, mate.
Here we are. Podcast number 2.
I know.
Bit of a weird situation, podcast listeners, because we've just finished recording podcast 1 intro and outro, and this is going behind the scenes and destroying the magic. But now we don't know how 1's done. It could have absolutely done terrible. It could be flopped, and this literally what I'm saying now might never be heard because we'll just go, you know what, that was a bad story. But hopefully you're listening to this now. Hopefully podcast 1 was all right.
No, I think it was. I enjoyed it anyway.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Even if we'd love to do more, but if that's not the case, then I enjoyed both of them, and especially this one as well because it was such a learning curve for me.
Yeah, because so this one obviously again, if you've clicked it, you will know that we're speaking to Lewis Bison Briggz, who is a Salford/Mancunian battle rapper and rapper. His overrated topic today is Biggie Smalls. Something you don't know a lot about.
No. Well, I obviously know who Biggie Smalls is.
Yeah.
Sometimes getting mixed up with Big Nasty.
Oh, okay.
Similar names.
I can see what you're thinking there, yeah.
No, but yeah, obviously I know who Biggie Smalls is, and obviously I know who Tupac is.
Yeah.
And so when Lewis said that he was going to come on and that this was his overrated subject, I was like, I remember ringing you going, bro, I said, I don't really know that much. And then I thought, actually, no, this could be quite good to learn something new.
Yeah, I think...
And it's been, like, I've really enjoyed it. It's sort of, it's been it's all I've really done for the last sort of 3 or 4 days. And
that's it, because we have to go away and do our homework, I suppose. Because, I don't know a lot about sort of sporty subjects. I know you do, football especially. So if we do have future guests who want to talk about a football team or sort of football as a whole or whatever, then they can, and whatnot. And I won't know much about it, but I'm going to learn. And I think if you don't know much about it, don't shy away from clicking one of the podcasts that you don't know the name of the guest of, or you don't really know much about the subject, because that's the beauty of it, I guess. Is like learning. Like I've loved this with you, because I remember when we lived together back on This Is England '86. And I used to play.
It's funny you remember. I don't remember anything.
The brief bits that I do remember, but bear in mind, guys, we were sort of 19, 18, 19-year-olds. We had a lot of fun on that show. But we lived together. We had a flat together, didn't we, in good old Sheffield. And I remember I left my house. I was at my mum and dad's still at the time, and I was like, right, I'm going to live in Sheffield for 2 months. I am moving all my shit. And I moved all my shit. And I took my PC with me, and I had a great little sound system on this PC. And I remember just blasting hip hop all the time. And then I remember you told me one day, don't never really listen to much of this. And I'm like, what? Like, I grew up on this. Like, what you on about? And it was nice educating you. And then I think you mentioned in the interview, I think you did, or we've chatted about it anyway. We went to Milan recently, didn't we? And DJ'd over in Milan. And you were playing songs in the shower.
Yeah, so I like with mine, like we discussed in the podcast. If you press shuffle on my Spotify, it will go from anything from Ed Sheeran to Andre Bocelli to Tupac to Biggie to Justin Bieber. It can go anywhere. And I was listening to. I think I had a bit of Tupac on while I was getting in the shower.
Yeah.
And you said to me, you went, just because I'm here, bro, you don't have to play Tupac.
I was
like, mate, no, it's just what I'm into at the minute.
I love your impression of me.
You're Manchester. It's the impression I do with your daughter.
My little girl, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I got married in June 2017, and Tomo always does the impression of my little girl thanking me for...
It was the most amazing thing. So the best men and the bridesmaids have done the speeches, and little Phoebe, bless her, she would have been 2.
She'd have been 2,
She'd have been 3, 2 or 3. And she said, Daddy, she went, let me say something. And he passed her the mic and she went dead nervous and the whole room was just looking at her and she just looked around and she went, "Thanks, Daddy." And it was just like the cutest little thing. But anyway, we're going off the subject.
That's fine. We can do that. This is the intro, mate. It's what it's about. People we just chat on the intro. We just cut the shit and just chat and like, yeah. This one for me, like I said again, you know, I'm the same as you. I'm very eclectic when it comes to music. I grew up, my gran listening to kind of Northern Soul and Motown, a bit of reggae. She loved R. Kelly.
Your gran did?
My gran loved R.
Wow.
Kelly, yeah. Don't know how she'd feel about him now.
I was going to
Got a bit
say,
naughty, didn't it? But yeah, no. So yeah, you know, that kind of music was always really, really prominent in my childhood. And then my dad, he was into kind of 80s a lot. My mum, I think she just liked ABBA, and that was about it. So I grew up around a lot of music. Then I got in with my cousins, started listening to hip hop. But I love all sorts. Like I say, you go through this beauty of Spotify as well, isn't it, nowadays?
Yeah.
You click on my Spotify and you go in from, you know, anywhere from Eminem to Frank Sinatra within a couple of songs. It's brilliant.
John
it's
Lennon out there. Yeah, it's everything.
Oh, yeah, John Lennon as
got
well,
everything,
obviously.
man. Like, everything's on there, which is why it's so beautiful. And yeah, I mean, but it's been brilliant to sit and learn, like Lewis was saying, back when he was a kid.
Yeah.
He couldn't spend $5 a month on Spotify because
That's it, yeah.
But he could maybe spend $5 every 2 months on buying an album. And Tupac, or you know, you couldn't go out and buy 5 or 6 albums like you've got at your fingertips now.
Yeah, like I say, you had to pick what you listen to, and I remember even when I was sort of a teenager,
Just stole them from HMV like I used to.
yeah. I remember like being a teenager and having like I say like a CD Walkman in school, and I remember I had Eminem. I had a couple of Wu-Tang CDs, and a couple of maybe early 50 Cent and stuff like that. So I was very into hip hop.
What was the first album you ever bought? Just quick.
Marshall Mathers LP.
So mine was Curtain Call.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh
my
wow.
first. Yeah,
That shows the age difference.
I bought my mum when I first got paid from This Is England. I bought her a Robbie Williams.
Lovely man, yeah.
I think it was Millennium. I think it was something like that. But the first album I ever bought was Eminem Curtain Call.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I mean, say bought, for me, it was Marshall Mathers LP, but I think I got birthday money and they said, "What do you want?" And I was like, that guy who sings Real Slim Shady.
Yeah.
And then I was gutted because that song isn't on the Marshall Mathers LP. But then I listened to the Marshall Mathers LP and I was like, shit, that album. Probably one of my top favourite albums of all time.
Brilliant. I'm going to listen to it on the drive back to Grimsby.
You should, man.
Today.
Have you not heard it? You heard it?
Of course, yeah. I'm just going to have another go on the way home.
But yeah, so just music in general, like you're saying, that this obviously is on one particular artist being, as Lou thinks, overrated. That what got me, as you can tell, I can hardly talk now. Because I love the Notorious B.I.G. and me and Lewis, I know Lewis quite well. We worked together a bit, and
doing rap battling together.
No, we both do bits of work for Unilad. Shout out to Unilad. And we got chatting about rap, Tupac, Biggie, that kind of stuff. And he said he thought Biggie was quite overrated, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, to me, it was like, whoa. So we invited him in to chat about Biggie. And obviously, if you don't know who Biggie is, Christopher Wallace, rapper from New York, the East Coast of America. Grew up quite educated, didn't he? We watched Notorious last night. He's done a bit of homework.
Yeah.
Grew up quite educated. You know, his mum brought him up. His mum and dad were Jamaican. Brought him up in New York, in Brooklyn.
Well, no, his dad left.
Yeah, well, his dad left. Yeah,
his dad left when he was really young, so it was down to him. She worked like a couple of jobs to bring him up right.
Yep. He was a smart kid, according to all sources.
Big kid by the age of 10.
Yeah, he was a big lad.
He was caught. That's where he got his nickname Biggie, wasn't it? Yeah.
Started dealing drugs very early on. I think 10 or 12. I think he started dealing
really
drugs.
young. Yeah.
Which is madness.
Crazy.
But again, you know, that's we talk in the podcast there about how why I guess in Manchester there was a bit more of a hip hop scene to Grimsby, but like, you know, I remember, like, it's a city obviously, and like I remember kids as young as 10 dealing drugs. See it now. See people walking around Manchester, not maybe 10, maybe about like 12, 13 kids sort of selling drugs and stuff like on the streets, and it's madness.
Yeah.
He grew up doing that. Obviously, then he got a rap album. started recording. He did it for fun at first. He started rapping for fun at first.
Yeah, just on the streets with his friends, wasn't it?
Yeah. Then he got a rap album, Ready to Die. Recorded that. That popped off. He became friends famously. You can't, I suppose, do a podcast about Biggie without mentioning the other
Tupac.
heavyweight. Yeah. Which Lewis does.
Yeah.
In the chat. Another big kind of heavy hitter from back in the kind of early to mid 90s. Obviously, they became great friends quite quickly.
Yeah.
I think Tupac apparently bought Biggie his first Rolex.
Yeah.
You've never bought me a Rolex, Tomo.
I've got you a Casio in the car.
Oh, cheers, mate. Is it the one that we got given from rap for night? I've got one of them. Cheers. So basically, they became friends. Then, unfortunately, something happened at Quad Studios or something like that. Tupac got jumped, got shot 4 times, survived it, but blamed Biggie for being a part of that. That then kicked off a rivalry across
It's a
music.
shame, man. Imagine if them two collaborated.
Imagine that.
Wow.
I mean, there was
Instead, we got Black Eyed Peas.
well, yeah. There was a track that obviously they did posthumously, or however you say that word, where running. You must remember that one. Why am I trying to live?
No.
Tune.
Maybe
Go
it's
and
because of
listen
the
to
way
that.
you're singing it.
Maybe it's because I just absolutely destroyed that track.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, they caused a bit of rivalry that pitted sort of East and West Coast against each other, rap fans against each other. You know, I was too young to remember any
It
of this.
separated America.
It kind of did in a way, mate. Yeah, it really did. Like it was kind of a big deal. Like if you were in New York and you were playing, Tupac, like you'd be frowned upon. And in certain times, I imagine you'd probably be beaten up, if not worse. And the same if you were in LA playing Biggie.
Yeah.
Biggie famously went and did a
It's an award
show
ceremony,
in
wasn't it?
Sacramento. You're thinking in '95.
Okay.
This was a show I think he did in Sacramento where he started singing "Who Shot You."
Oh
Stole
yeah.
Flames. Then there was what you're thinking of is the Source Wars in 1995, where Suge Knight, Tupac's kind of manager and record producer, I think.
Yeah.
He stood on stage and basically called Bad Boy Records out, saying that Puff Daddy was always in every. Why is Puff Daddy got to be in every
video?
Track, and all that, yeah. And said, if you want to be a real rapper, come join us on the West Coast. Come join us, Death Row. I think they were launching an East Coast Death Row as well at the time.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
And then
Because Suge let Tupac run that. It was his own thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because Tupac was from New York.
Yeah,
as well.
of course. And then he moved over when he was young. Yeah.
He did, yeah. So the two obviously, and there became a bit of rivalry. Like I say, pit the coast against each other. Sadly, Tupac died in September. I was going to say 2000. September 1996.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, he was shot in Las Vegas on the Las Vegas Strip or thereabouts.
Something like that, yeah.
After a Mike Tyson fight. Then a couple of months later, after that, Biggie famously said, he'd heard that Big Tupac had been shot, and Biggie was just like, "What again?" Like he didn't realise that he died. He was like, "Oh yeah, Tupac's been shot. Tupac's always getting shot. It's just Tupac." Didn't realise that he died, and then. Sadly.
But then he was getting a lot of shit, Biggie.
I think because of the whole media hype and stuff like that, I think people genuinely thought he could have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever caught who got Tupac. I think they kind of know who it might have been or something like that. Then 5 months later, Biggie was then killed in California.
Yeah.
Which obviously is the West Coast. Similar kind of thing. We were saying this last night, weren't we? Like, obviously Tupac got shot in a car at a traffic light. Car pulls up next to him, unloads a load of bullets. Tupac didn't die in the car, he died a couple of days later in the hospital. But the same thing happened in California with Biggie. Pulls up to traffic lights, whatever.
Yeah.
Car pulls up next to him, and then it's
mad. It's crazy. It's such a weird thing to have to worry about when all that you're doing is making music.
Yeah, that's it. They're just artists.
You're doing what you imagine in a world in which we lived. If I was going for an audition for a film, and you got it, and I'm like, right, I'm going to go to Manchester and fuck him up.
Yeah.
That's essentially
what they would. Yeah, that's
what
it.
it was.
They were both artists in the day, and I
there
guess
was artists. There was doing what they love doing, and the media got a hold of it, like they do now. Like they do now. They get something that they can see that will bring out outrage, And it's like, and they get that and they nurture it and they force it down everyone's throat. And that's, in a way, the media.
Well, it was one of the first.
Killed Biggie, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was when that kind of time as well was when the media was jumping on shit like. It wasn't too long after like the OJ trials. Like, the OJ trials.
Of course,
they were like, that was when people. That was famously like, I think, like the first time people had watched like
the news.
A car being chased down a highway, and it was like, it's a car, but it's OJ in it, and it kind of brought that celebrity thing about celebrities can be bad guys and stuff. And obviously from the OJ trials, you've got the Kardashians now, which is so that was the first case of that, and then obviously and I guess the media were just jumping on anything of that hype, and then this kind of stoked the fire. But that being said, anyway, so that's a little dive into, if you didn't know who Biggie was. Our guest today, Lewis Bison Briggz, battle rapper and rapper from Manchester, Salford, /Salford, sorry, reckons that he's overrated. So we got him in the studio to chat with him to find out whether he was just a overrated poet fogged by nostalgia, or whether he actually was one of the greatest rappers in the world. Let's drop the interview of us and Lou. We have got Lewis Bison Briggz in the studio.
What's happening?
How's it going, mate?
Yeah, cheers for joining us, mate.
Oh, nice one, mate. Nice one. It's better being in the sun with ginger ale anyway. So keeps me inside. I'm happy with this.
Yeah, I can relate to that one, mate.
Nice, cool studio. We can just see. Are you all right near that window? I know you can't see this guy, but he's near a
50
window
on the back of my neck, so I'll be all right for this shot anyway.
So, anyone who don't know, Lewis, you are a rap battler coming from Salford.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that. Like, rap battling, man. Like, what is it?
It's mad, it's like a fight, but with your mouth. So basically, I was a rapper before anyway. I was rapping for about 8 years before I got into it. And then randomly, I went to some event in town, Manchester, and there was quite a few people there. That Jack O'Connor was there hosting it. So it was quite like, it was a big draw to this event for some weird reason.
Other than
Jack's
that,
massive into his rap as well.
So other than that, it was a good night though, yeah?
Yeah, it was a great night. I think people only went because the blonde girl from In Between Us was there, and everyone was like, oh, there's loads of like...
That Emily Attack.
Right.
Emily Attack.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, mate.
Everyone was like, oh, there's loads of celebrities here. So I was like, go on, I'll go pop down here. Walked in, and it's just loads of people rap battling. I'd never seen it before. I've watched like 8 Mile, and it wasn't what I'd expected. It was just like loads of white college kids all shouting at each other. So I thought, yeah, go on, I'll jump into that. 10 years later, I'm doing it now.
Done it.
Running a business, doing it,
Yeah, because tell us, so she used to work with Dope Flop.
Yeah, so I ran Dope Flop's Northern Division for 3 years.
Wow,
until
man.
last year.
And Dope Flop was massive as well, wasn't it?
Oh, massive, yeah.
I remember watching videos of that a couple of years back now, and just buzzing over, it was just class. Like, I didn't know that went on. Didn't know rap battling went on. I thought, like, 8 Mile, and then like, I remember doing it a bit at school, which we'll cover talk to later. But and then so now Premier Battles.
Yeah, Premier Battles just set up this year.
And that's football themed. What's the deal there?
Kind of, yeah. So me and Shotty Horror, who's a rapper from Manchester, we had this idea about 7 years ago where we was going to do battle raps. It's the same contents of going against each other, but in team format.
Okay.
So we thought we'd bring competition of football into battle rap. So you basically have to work together as a team, come up with tactics to beat the opposition team.
Sick.
So all based in a team format. So there's 5 teams in the Premier Division. Next season we launch the 2nd division, the Toronto division, and hopefully the South African division.
Nice.
Wow.
So we're trying to build like a FIFA of battle rap.
That's class, man.
So it's just been mad, but when we came up with it, we didn't. At the time, the scene wasn't ready for what we wanted to do with it. It was still Don't Flop style, so 2 people. That was it. But the way the internet's gone, and we're a network subscribed, so we use YouTube. It's like Netflix.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of fell into place now with Don't Flop dying. It's just I was out of a job obviously because Don't Flop died.
Yeah.
Don't
Flop flopped.
Yeah, Don't Flop flopped. Yeah.
He's been wanting to say that all day.
Oh mate, I'm kind of glad it happened. To be honest, it was coming to an end.
But we've literally we did a podcast and we talked about technology
and
how it can help and change the world.
Yeah.
Episode 1, go and listen to it.
And we were just saying, like, with that, I mean, without YouTube, it would have been such a more difficult.
Without YouTube, I don't think it probably wouldn't even still be going.
We wouldn't have Justin Bieber without YouTube. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God, imagine that world.
Do you know what I mean?
That is an absolute
what kind of world
utopia.
would we want to live in without Justin Bieber and Baby?
Thank God for YouTube.
So, anyway, let's get back to the topic. So, you're here today.
Yeah.
Got an overrated subject that, to be honest, mate, it's pissed me off. I'm not going to lie to you. Can't look at you in the eyes, to be honest with you. I'm only joking. Yeah, tell us what you think is overrated.
So I'm going to start where this came from. So me and yourself were chatting about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the conversation of Tupac versus Biggie came up, which is like the standpoint of hip-hop for anyone. Yeah. And I came out with Biggie's overrated.
Yeah,
That's a big statement.
And I'm going to stand by that.
It pained me when I heard it, because like I love Tupac. Like I've got to put across a case for Biggie in this podcast, but guys, I grew up listening to Tupac, all that kind of West Coast music, like NWA, Snoop, all them, Tupac, like that was my childhood, and I love Tupac. And I didn't really hear that much Bigger. Juicy, maybe Hypnotised. That's all the kind of tunes I'd heard. Maybe One More Chance, like the ones that were kind of in the charts.
Yeah, the famous ones.
And then I went away. I remember I was about 18, and I listened to Ready to Die. And it blew my mind, man. I felt like I'd grown up. I felt like I'd gone, wow, what have I been missing here with this guy? Like, he's just, I mean, we'll get into it, but like, I'm not saying he's better than Tupac. I don't know. Am I? I don't know. That's something. It's like when I was starting to realise I'm an atheist. It's an internal battle that I've got, mate. Do you know what I mean? Coming from a Roman Catholic Irish family, it's the same thing. It's like, I love Tupac, but fuck me, Biggie Smalls is sick. And interestingly, Tomo, you're not bothered either way. You're not massively.
No, I mean, for me, I've always been into music, but I mean, if you press shuffle on my song on my Spotify, it can go from Justin Bieber to Biggie to Tupac to Arctic Monkeys to Andrea Bocelli. It can go anywhere. Like, I've got my music taste is so broad. And then when Andy mentioned this that you said about Biggie, and I thought, all right, well, I'll do a bit more research into it, and I looked into it and also into the Tupac Biggie thing as well. And I watched it was amazing to do it in one day, actually.
Yeah.
So I watched Tupac, All Eyes on Me, and it was amazing to watch that and get his side for what he stood for and what he was doing it for, and then the same day to watch Notorious, and it was just amazing to see how there was both in it for different things, and how Biggie actually rapped about what he did and how real he was, and everything that he said in his raps, 9 in 10 things was actually true. Whereas Tupac grew up and he was a clever man, he was a genius, but it's sort of some of the things that he rapped about wasn't necessarily true.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. It's been a brilliant. It's a good topic for me because, I've learned a whole different sort of genre of music. I've learned all about the East Coast and the West Coast. And
you didn't know that was a thing, either,
no.
because obviously that's
No.
one of
Oh
them.
yeah. If you don't know the story, if you don't listen to Tupac and Biggie, you won't really know that.
No, and
unless you're not from them areas as well, I guess, in the mid-90s.
In the 90s, yeah. But no, it was good. It was good to sort of... So did you grow up with that, or was there a different sort of aspect into to battle rap that...
Yeah, kind of. I got into hip-hop pretty young. Like, one of my best friends, his brother, he's like a couple of years older than me, probably 5-7 years older. And he was mad into hip-hop at the time. I was, I don't know, probably 8-9 years old or something. But he was into like Murder Mace and Tupac and Biggie. And I remember one day he put a Tupac on one. It wasn't even Tupac, actually. It was a Digital Underground CD. And it was, funny enough, Tupac's first ever professional single he released was on that. And I heard that and I was just like mad for it at that point. And it was like, by this time, I think it had been a year or two after they both died.
Yeah.
So, but I was still only a kid, so I grew up listening to it, not even knowing they were dead, because Tupac was still putting music out and constantly. And then it's only until I got like 12 to 13 I actually realised they were both dead. Went back and caught up with the whole thing, because growing up I'd always heard like, fuck the West Side, fuck the East Coast and all that, and I was thinking, why are they saying that? I didn't quite get it because I was a kid. My mum used to go mental if she heard me listen to the CD, but the second she was out, Biggie or Tupac was straight. It wasn't even CDs, it was cassette tapes.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, a little bit of sellotape on the top because they've been re-recorded over. But yeah, it's one of them, like you say, I wasn't massively into Biggie for a while. It took me probably, because I was so, it sounds mad saying it now, but I was so team Tupac. Like, It was a bad thing when you was a kid if you liked Tupac, you listened to Biggie.
I was exactly the same. That's what
weird, wasn't it? It was like Bloods and Crips, like you can't like one or the other.
Exactly. Yeah, you were saying
kind of compared it to that last night, and it did become that kind of gang kind of thing. Because I remember, similar to you, so I kind of grew up on hip hop. Like my gran was into kind of Motown and soul and things like that, so I was always surrounded by that kind of music, like Northern soul and stuff. And then my cousin was like massively into hip hop, and he used to hang around with him, a couple of my other cousins, and they only really listened to like the old school stuff. And so I did, like, like Nas and, like, say, NWA, Beastie Boys, people like that who were, like, forgotten about. Well, not forgotten about now, obviously, but, like, do you know what I mean? Like, NWA, nobody really knew who they were 5 years ago. They bring out one film and everyone's like, yeah, rolling down the street in my 6'4". I'm like, I tweeted that about 10 years ago, you idiot. Piss off. But, like, yeah, and you grow up. I think, like, even though it was years after all that, like, I remember I probably got into Tupac round probably about 99, 2000, started chilling with my cousins a bit. Yeah. So he'd been dead a couple of years, and even though they'd been dead, like you had to kind of pick a side still.
No, it was like you say, it was like Bloods, Crips, United City. Like if you liked one, it was impossible to like the other.
It's mad how it meant so much. It was more than music as well. Like especially on the West and East Coast in New York and in LA, we were saying last night it was a rap battle that become a war.
Yeah,
between the coasts, and people was dying, and
it ultimately ended, I guess, in the two people that were kind of discussing, untimely deaths, man. Like Tupac was 25. Yeah, he's younger than me now, man.
Yeah, younger than you.
You know, Biggie was round about that age.
They're both around the same age.
And it's mad how music can take that tone. I mean, now. Imagine Conor Maynard's fans fighting against Justin Bieber's.
I don't know who he is.
It wouldn't have the same. Well, One Direction against the Justin Bieber's.
Okay, I know.
You know, it just wouldn't have the same effect.
Yeah,
and it's just like how it's just changed so much, the music. And I mean, obviously you can tell from the fan base that Justin Bieber or One Direction or Nicki Minaj or any of these big celebrities that have got these sort of big following, like the Tupac and Biggie did have back in the day. But it's amazing how much more real it was then than it is now.
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess like part of that as well is like, you know, people nowadays, music's so much easily accessible. Like Lewis was saying before, back in the day, you had to hide a tape or a CD from your mum. You had to go out and buy a tape or a CD, you know, and you'd buy that one particular genre of music. And nowadays, like you got Spotify, like you can listen to Marilyn Manson 1 minute and then, you know, John Lennon the next, and it's you know, it's cool.
I remember sorry mate, just like you're saying on that sort of subject, I remember being a kid and it wasn't even the way you found out about a new song was there was a pirate radio station in London called Buzz FM, and you could only get it on a certain like frequency. It used to have like a coat hanger coming out of a stereo, and they played the brand new hip hop from America at the time. And if your signal was rubbish, you'd miss bits of it, but you'd be recording on a tape. And like it was like gold dust in school. If you had that, people were swapping better qualities who had better frequencies at the time. It was like gold. That's how I pretty much grew my hip hop knowledge through Buzz FM.
Right, so how old are you?
I'm 30 now.
So you're 30. So how that's just changed so much in that time. How easy. I mean, I suppose Spotify and iTunes and all that have changed the music scene.
We're the last kind of sort of era of subcultures, I guess. Because subcultures come from music, you know. We've obviously done things in the past, subculture-wise, you know, and it's all been based around music, you know, and I guess nowadays there's not subcultures because kids don't have to choose. Like, say, back in the day, you'd go, right, I like, you know, the electronic music, so I'm going to get well into that.
Yeah, you're going to spend the only £10.
So I'm going to be a skinhead.
And the only £10 that you've got, you're going to buy a Tupac album or a Biggie album. So whereas now you get £10, well, £5 a month, you get your Spotify, you've got everything. It's sort of yeah.
So coming back to it then, so I mean, you did what I did. You listened to Biggie when a bit later on.
Yeah.
Like, What? Why?
I was still.
Why are you still overrating him?
I was still listening. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I was a mad Tupac fan. I was still listening to Biggie, but if anyone asked, I was like, nah, fuck Biggie. Not even paying attention to him. Don't care what he's got to say. For me, I just think I'm not taking nothing away from him. He was a great rapper. He did what he did, but to have him in the top 2 of all time, not even top 2, to be debating if he's even next to Tupac as the greatest of all time.
So where would he make your top 5?
I think he'd make, top 10.
Ooh, top 10.
I think he'd struggle to get in the top 10.
List them off.
List them off.
Yeah.
Top 10, in no order off the top of my head. Tupac, Eminem, Big L, Jay-Z,
okay,
Method Man. Ooh, this is where we're getting into it now. Jay-Z, did I say Big L?
Yeah, he's a Big L third, I think.
Shit.
He's
running low now. Yeah, I would put Biggie in there. Biggie probably be 6th, 7th.
Peer pressure, that one.
Who else would I put in there now off the top of my head?
That'll do. Top 10. At least he's in your top 10. I'm happy with that. But yeah, no, I mean, again, I am one of them. Like, for me, I would be fighting still a little bit inward with Biggie and Tupac there. But if you held a gun to my head, I don't know. I'd kind of maybe have to go Biggie. I think. I don't know.
What's making you go Biggie over Tupac though? Just
like what Tom was saying before, Biggie, he's not glorifying it or anything, but Biggie did it, man. Biggie, what he's talking about, he did. He was on, and this crushed me when I found out as well. Like, weirdly, it shouldn't. Like, don't advocate violence to anyone, but Biggie's talking about doing this and doing that, and he's actually done it. Tupac's talking about doing this and doing that, and he studied ballet with Will Smith's wife and was madly. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's that point of it where I'm kind of going, okay, as an actor, was Tupac just an act? And if so, mint like it was. And I think it wasn't. He got into the whole thug life thing, obviously. Yeah. He got in with Death Row and he became that sort of character.
Yeah.
But Biggie was always that. That was Biggie. Like,
that's all it is. It's a character, though, isn't it? It's like that. Like there was a quote I think from Puff Daddy, P Diddy. He said, "You can be from the streets, or you can rap about being from the streets."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and it's like you've sort of got to take that, because if you especially nowadays, if you was to be on a record label, you can't do the things that you say that you're doing, because it's just like people are offended so easily now.
Yeah, people worry about real stuff, but obviously, you can't sign an artist and go carry on selling crack, mate, and we'll make songs about it.
I think the thing is as well, though, like Tupac went to, so he's a ballet dancer, but he went to performing art school where he was an actor, so ballet was part of the sort of curriculum that he had.
I've been to acting school. You have to do a lot of shit.
Did you do ballet?
I did
Well, there you go.
Touched on it.
And you rapped a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe I am Tupac.
But the thing with Tupac, like for me, is like, I think you have a thug and then you have an educated thug. Tupac was an educated thug.
Yeah.
Biggie was a thug.
Yeah.
Fair enough, he did to perform in art school, but at the same time, he was raised by one of the leaders of the Black Panthers.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
He went to prison for shooting 2 police officers. Like, he's...
I mean, we're not glorifying any of this.
No, but I'm just saying,
did live that life.
From that perspective of Tupac was faking everything, he wasn't. He was just educated about the way he spoke about things. Like, a lot of the stuff he speaks about, fair enough, Biggie was saying, kick off your door, waving the 4-4 sort of stuff. Like, Tupac wasn't rapping about that. Kicking. And I had to say that a little bit clear. But he says, with Tupac, he was a lot more, he's always said it in his music as well, like, he isn't saying he's a gangster. He's portraying where he's from. Yeah. So he's telling the story. People love Nas. Nas is the same now. Nas isn't a gangster, but Nas will portray the area he's from because the media aren't doing it.
Well, like the looking at my project windows is just saying this is what I'm seeing. Like It's not me, but I look out my project windows and
it's highlighting what's actually going on.
Yeah, he's just a journalist.
Like with Tupac, that was one of his things. Like he wanted people to know what it was like. Yeah. And like you said, with the media and the police who was giving him such a hard time of it, you couldn't get the message out that Tupac was getting out on this massive broad scale.
And
his albums.
Biggie said that as well, didn't he? I know it's in Notorious, which we watched last night, didn't we, together, but Biggie said that about Tupac. Like, you never know what Tupac you were going to get. One minute it was Thug Life, the next minute it was Philosopher. And that's right, because again, like, I love him, and I remember when I was younger reading, poems that he wrote, like Rose That Grew From the Concrete, about Jada Pinkett Smith, and things like that. And like, he's a poetic genius, man. There's no denying that. But just have to pull you up on a point.
Go on then.
So, you're saying, like, Tupac's well-educated and all that. Biggie was a smart guy. Biggie was a very smart guy. So, You know, I mean, there's that famous thing where his teacher said, "Oh, you're going to end up like a garbage man," and he went away, did his research, came in school the next day and was like, "How much do you earn?" 24,000. Right, well, a garbage man earns 28, so I'm going to be making, you know what I mean? Like, things like that, like his lyrics as well. There's a lot of, like, really smart stuff in there. Like, one of the lyrics that I've wrote down, which I think is probably my favourite, is on 10 Crack Commandments. Yep. And this is just poetry. So it's rule number 7. This rule is so underrated. Keep your family and your business completely separated. Money and blood don't mix like 2 dicks and no bitch. Find yourself in some serious shit. That is just like poetic as fuck, man.
Poetic, it's nice, yeah.
It's not nice.
Yeah, he's just. I'm not saying he was the worst rapper in the world.
No,
I just think for me he's overrated in the sense of, is he considered the greatest of all time? When for me, like, don't get me wrong, I love Tupac. A lot of my top rappers are from New York. And I wouldn't put Biggie in the top 5 from New York.
All right, okay.
When you look at people like DMX, Jay-Z, like, for me, Biggie's had one album. So he had Ready to Die, which was a classic. And give him that one. Life After Death was...
You don't like Life After Death?
Do you think...
For top albums of all time?
Oh, I don't know, mate. I fucking love that.
Tupac had like 15 albums.
Yeah, but Tupac was going a long... Not a long time before Biggie. So Tupac released his first album in 90, I think, won it with Digital Underground.
Yeah.
Biggie, by that point, was still in school, I think, or just got out of school. So, and then, like, you know, he didn't release his first album until 93, 94, and then died in 98, Biggie. Yeah, Tupac was 97. Oh, 96, Biggie died in 97 then, sorry, yeah. You know, so he didn't have enough time, and then, you know, like... I know Tupac obviously was a grafter, wasn't he, famously? Yeah. He was in the studio.
We're still putting out new music of him now.
That's mental.
Yeah. Is it written over 700 songs?
Something like that, yeah. Apparently there's, what did I see now? Something like 2 months worth of material that's never even come out.
It's crazy, isn't it? The guy must have grafted.
Well, they both died. I think they both died at 25 years old, so they both had the same amount of time on the earth.
Yeah.
And Tupac.
But I mean, like I said, Tupac was always growing up with the mentality of, I'm going to be an artist. He went to arts college, whatnot, actor, and he wrote poetry. So he always knew he was going to be an artist. So he I'm guessing if you've got that mentality, do it. Biggie just fell into it a little bit. Biggie was selling crack on the street corners, making his mates laugh while he was stood there, you know, in his red and black lumberjack with a hat to match. And, you know, just
someone's done his research.
Yeah, 25 plus years or whatever. I've been listening to this since I was a kid. That's it. That's all I know, Biggie. But, you know, so obviously, yeah, Tupac put a lot more out, and that's fine. And there is some songs of Tupac's. There's some of the newer stuff, I guess, I've not really listened to.
Yeah, I don't listen to the newer stuff.
Yeah, and which isn't newer stuff, which is weird.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's still raw.
I think what you have to look at with the newer stuff is it's all touched by new engineers, new softwares, new producers.
Yeah.
So it sounds probably nothing like what you recorded.
I was saying that the sound of old school rap is nothing like what it sounds like nowadays.
No, they're all mumbling and shit now, talking about like Xanax and stuff, man. It's not. It's just
mad,
a different game.
It's just completely. Even just like I say, the way the beats hit your ear, the way it sounds in your head is just like it's just not the same.
Oh yeah, I listened to what was it the other day? Nas, Illmatic. So it's one of my top 5 albums of all time.
Same.
Not listened to it for a couple of years. Went back to it the other day, and the audio recording. Bear in mind, I just had on before that. Something brand new, I can't think. It might have been new J. Cole album.
Dua Lipa.
That's a good album as well.
Dua Lipa.
One kiss is all it takes.
Need that as a chorus.
Yeah.
So I think it was J. Cole's new album, and then I switched on, just on Spotify scrolling through, and I seen Immaculate, and I thought, God, I've not listened to that for years.
Yeah.
Put it on, and I had to turn it off after 2 or 3 songs because the audio recordings were that bad in my headphones.
Yeah.
It was like, I can't physically sit through this album now.
Well, that's why they say get it on like a CD or get it on like a.
Oh yeah, I've got a
vinyl,
CD and
man.
everything of it. It sounds perfect. It was just because I went from something so clean and audio produced in the studio to just the rawness of it. It was like I still love listening to old school hip hop. Like, a lot of the new stuff, like you say, it sounds too over programmed and produced and
too much auto-tune.
It's too perfect.
Like
it's too like
there's no ruggedness.
Yeah.
You need someone to come in and, do you know what I mean, just shout down the mic like Bigger or someone like that. Do you know? You know, and yeah, I think it is that because I think, you know, it's one of them. Like, there is a few rappers who still kind of come from, I guess, the streets and have that realness. You know, there's a few like coming up, but like a lot of them are like rich kids who like just do it and try and do it and do it as like a hobby and break into it, which is quite mad. But I'm with you. I still like that rawness, and I like shit that makes you laugh. Like I like what's his face who I've got dead into, Tyler the Creator. Like, people aren't like just dicking about. Like if it's going to be new hip hop, like they're the guys I listen. Joe Cole's one. My mate Jay on the camera. Hi Jay. He put me onto that, and I'm like,
Joe Cole, the footballer.
Not Joe Cole. What's he called? J Cole.
J Cole.
Joe Cole.
Joe Cole.
Joe Cole, the left winger for England.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's
scored a great goal against Germany, I think.
But yeah, you know, so what, I guess, I don't know what I'm going to say. Like, what is it that got you into rap in the first place? Because, like, let's face it, same with me. Like, you know, we're white, sort of working class lads, you know, thousands of miles away from where this music was being made. I know a lot of great grime and hip hop is made in the UK now, but sort of late 90s, early 2000s, there wasn't that much, I guess. What got you into... What made you listen to a guy from the West Coast to East Coast?
You know what? Growing up, my mum, like, same as you, really. My mum was always madly into Motown and soul music, so I got that. But my dad was massively into reggae.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So kind of when I heard hip-hop... I can't remember what the first song was, but it was my friend Dean. My friend Jordan, Dean was his older brother that I mentioned before. I was in his room and he was, like, just getting into Children of the Corn, them old school, like, the early DMX sort of stuff. And I remember being in his bedroom and I was like, it didn't sound nothing too... It sounded like a mixture of Motown and reggae, but like completely different with that rawness to it.
Yeah.
And I liked that from the get-go. Like, I remember he bought a single, I can't remember what single it was, and it had it was Mobb Deep, Quiet Storm.
Okay.
And he had the instrumental on the thing, you know, the tape. So when you used to buy a single, you used to get the song, the remix, and the instrumental.
Right.
So he was playing that, and he just used to start like freestyling over the top of it. I was probably only 8 or 9, and I'd just take the piss, like freestyling over the top of this beat. I didn't think nothing of it until a couple of years later. I was on the internet. Remember when you used to have like chat rooms?
Yeah. I often frequented Parachat.
How's a teen chat had me? I was on Teen Chat, yeah. I was on Teen
Tomo's
Chat.
still on it.
Chat roulette.
Chat roulette's the naughty one, isn't it?
I don't know.
I was on Teen Chat, and there was a group there called Rap and Hip Hop Fans.
Okay.
So I remember clicking on that, and people were battling, but with text. And I thought that was weird.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, people used to text battle.
Wow.
And I thought that was mad. But I remember them old
It's like
school...
me when I'm arguing with my missus about not changing the washing.
That's
I'm at
basically
the
what it is over the
pub.
text.
I'm not coming home. Bitch, leave me alone.
With an emoji now like that. But yeah, it ended up... I don't even know how I got into it. I remember just writing a rap battle weird. Like, I've never done it before, just rhyming. And I thought, well, I like this. And then I kept doing that. And then I built like a mad little internet following doing it.
Right.
And then MySpace came about.
Yeah.
And I got a microphone, little PC mic with a little microphone coming off. I remember it being bright green from Argos. It sounded like I was recording in a washing machine. But just started rapping over songs, like actual songs, because I couldn't get beats.
Yeah.
And just turned the volume way up, so it was just terrible to listen to. Started putting them out on a website called SoundClick, and I ended up getting quite a decent following off it.
Oh, nice. Man.
Wow.
Got into the studio, and when I was walking into my first studio, I was like, whoa, this is mad. I wasn't rapping over the top of Biggie's voice anymore. I was like,
Yeah.
trying to take Biggie off the track.
You used Biggie there then.
I was trying to knock Biggie off the track.
Imagine. New rap sensation.
That's why I was called Briggzy for a bit.
Oh, so you took his name as well then?
Briggzy Smalls.
Just had to do 2.0, didn't I? Switch him up a bit. But yeah, no, I just kind of... I fell into it. I didn't really plan to be a rapper or anything. It just kind of happened. When I was rapping at first, I only started telling people the last year or so in high school.
Yeah.
Like, no one was doing it. It was like, oh, people used to say, oh, you want to be black and all that. Like, I used to get all that.
I got that a lot.
I did turn up in do-rags and everything for a year, though. Like.
Well, so me and Tom were talking about this last night. Like, so when we first met, I was 15-ish, 14, 15. And I remember having, like, it was amazing, this proper nice Machiavelli shirt and just FUBU and what was Jay-Z's? Jay-Z
FUBU.
had, like, a little make-out at one
Rockaware.
point. Rockaware, yeah, that was the one. How did you forget that? That kind of stuff, like, I had all that. And I was saying to Tomo, like, as we were talking about it last night, and I was like, oh, yeah, like, do you remember, like, when you were in school and everyone would have rap battles? And Tomo was like, no. And I'm like, he's the same age, pretty much, give or take a school year.
Yeah.
Is it a city thing? Is it being raised? Because obviously New York, LA, big cities, Manchester, it's a big city. It's not as big as them cities. Obviously,
See, in Grimsby, there's no such thing as any rap scene. There's none at all.
I know a grime artist from Grimsby.
Oh, really?
I think he might be the only one, though.
I remember being in school. It was a couple of years after 8 Mile as well. Like 8 Mile had been out. I'm talking, this was like 2004, 2005.
That must have like egged people on to want to do it more as well. Like such a big film.
Guess so. But this is what I mean. It was a little bit after that. It kind of kicked off again because 8 Mile came out like 2001, something like that, maybe.
Bit later.
Maybe a bit later. Yeah.
About 2006.
That was after.
Nah, it wasn't 2006. 8 Mile.
I don't even know.
Someone fact check it. We'll do a fact check and give you the thing anyway. But yeah, so 8 Mile came out, and it was a little while afterwards anyway that like I remember my school just went mad, and like it was like you'd be walking down the corridor and you'd see a crowd in the playground. You'd think, right, there's a fight. Someone's getting their head kicked in, and you buzz, you'd run over, and it'd be two lads, normally lads, stood there. There was a couple of girls actually in my school, but be normally lads stood there rap battling.
Yeah,
and I thought it was so good, man, because I'm proper like. You know what I mean? I'm into like peace and shit. I was like, well, this is stopping the fights. Like, you know what I mean? It stops me getting my head kicked in for being a fat shit.
You told me earlier on that you'd lost one fight in 15.
I've only ever lost one fight in my life.
Said I'd had 15 fights as a kid.
Round about that.
Lost one.
You know.
that's good numbers, that.
Growing
good
up in
odds,
Wivenshaw,
yeah.
mate, like, you know, it was a lot of scrapping being a kid.
He tried having a play fight with me earlier on and realised that I'm far stronger.
Oh, he's hard as fuck, yeah. I've always looked at him and think,
Is that the one you lost?
He's just, that's it, yeah. But no, so going back to, I remember like the deputy head, like, grabbing us one day and pulling me to one side and like, look, this has to stop, this is causing trouble. And I was like, we could be fighting, sir.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like rap battling that way is like, I'd rather the kids be doing that.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, I've done Don't Flop for 9 years, and I think there was one fight in 9 years.
Jeez,
that's what I mean. Well, how can someone stop that from happening? Like, it's such a good thing that people at a young age was being creative as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, you're being creative.
Poetically.
Yeah, but you're being, you're sort of...
100%.
You're shouting at me for what my English teacher has taught me to do.
Well, it's got to the point now. It's like a job now. Like I say, when I do this Premier Battle things, they all know probably 2 months in advance who they're battling. So for the next 2 months, they're all writing, preparing.
Is that how it works? So you know who you're going to battle?
Yeah, all my events are on. So we used to do what's called the pit. So you'd go kind of 8 Mile without the stage. So you'd go and everyone would circle you like a fight, like a school fight.
Yeah.
They're quite intense.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But we do the pit now because we try and make the battlers more celebrity-based because they're massive now around the world. They've all got big, massive fan bases. So we put them on stage now, and it's like performance has now become a part of it. So they're like theatre performers because they have to memorise the script which they've wrote themselves.
Yeah.
And within that script, they're also writing their own directions and cues. Like some people like O'Shea will have a prop that he'll bring out, and it's all about time. It's getting these kids into it now. Like we have a kid who's 14 that's just got involved.
Wow, that young.
Well, we've had loads, but the only thing we struggle with is getting them into venues because our venues are always over 18s.
Do you find that with it being rap battle, do you think people might associate it with people being like all hanging around on street corners and doing this and doing that? Or, like you've just saying, it's more creative?
Oh, yeah. There's 2 films coming out this year about it. One of them was produced by Eminem, called Bodied, and one directed by Ed Lilly in London, called Versus, which is out this year. So it's a weird thing that the mainstream are taking to, but there is also that side of people don't get it still.
Yeah.
Like when I try to explain I'm all right because I've been doing it for so long now. I've got like a name with all venue promoters and everything now. So when I chat to them, they know what I'm doing. When I first started, it was like, right, I'm going to do a rap battle event. They'd be like, not proud that you're doing that, innit? And they'd be like, look.
Because it does sound, troublesome. And I guess, because rappers got such a...
Yeah, and you think with 8 Mile as well as all like the running around with the guns, and it's like, and it's not like that.
No, it's not like that at all.
Like you say, people are working hard and doing what they're doing, regardless of whether you're working on a film script or whether you're working on a script as such for a rap battle. It's like, it can be associated with being like a bit of an angry hobby.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely not that at all. Like, some of the people that came, not even to name drop, some of the people that came through Don't Flop, which are now established, was like Rizzle Kicks, Rag and Bowl Man, and you wouldn't associate them with battle rap.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Pro Green as well.
Pro Green was a battle rapper,
Yeah, he was a battle rapper, wasn't he?
Yeah.
There's some brilliant videos of him on YouTube with his little signboard around his name with his name on it.
Off.
I thought that was brilliant. And now, like, he uses his platforms for such good. Like, some of the documentaries that he makes. And things like that. And, like, good people do come from that sort of scene.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And you've got to be a certain kind of person as well, because, like, one thing that I suppose you've got to get used to is getting called names getting called, whatever. Like, how do you not take that seriously?
It's like boxing. You both know what you're getting yourself in for. Like, if I go in a boxing ring, I know this guy's going to punch me in the face.
Yeah.
So if I'm accepting to battle this guy, I know 2 months in advance what he's going to say. I know he's going to say some stuff I don't like.
Yeah.
It's part of it. I can't be... If I'm upset, these people that have come into it and got upset and you never see them again.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
It just is what it is.
Yeah, you can't get too attached to what they're saying.
It's just a weird sport.
And it's just like having, like, with the banter that me and my friends have nowadays, is like, to people from outside who might listen to what we're saying to each other, people will be like, fucking Jesus, man, like,
exactly.
Shouldn't be saying shit like that to each other, but it's like, you sort of know, it's only sort of, you're only having a bit of banter, you're having a bit of a laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Which I suppose is a bit similar in a rap battle.
If you ever go to an event, you'll literally see at the start of the battle, both battlers will shake hands. As soon as the final round's called, and if it's me hosting, I'll get the crowd to make noise or whatever. Yeah. And you'll both see them cuddling, saying, laughing at lines they said about each other and stuff.
What's the worst thing that anyone's ever said to you in a battle?
I've been quite lucky, you know. People just usually go for what I look like, so I usually get a lot of ginger jokes. My girlfriend's called Billie Jean, so I get a lot of Michael Jackson shit.
Fucking hell.
But I'm quite good at freestyling, so I can flip things. So
you can turn it around quick.
Yeah, so this say something to me that I think, right, I can flip that while they're still going for the next 30, 40 seconds. I'm in my head structuring a line. Thinking if I get this off, the crowd's going to go mental, and it doesn't really matter what I say.
There was one that we watched, actually, where it was something, I think you got called a garden gnome.
Yeah,
and
that was
you
the
flipped it straight, because I was like, he didn't know that was going to happen. And he flipped it straight on, and it was like, yeah, that was sick.
That was my first ever battle. That.
Oh, was it?
First ever battle. And I only got into that battle randomly. The guy who was battling was meant to battle Raptor.
Ah, right,
and,
okay.
Raptor went to prison the night before. So the guy was on Facebook giving it the big...
He's not very good at turning up to things, is he?
Yeah, Raptor was supposed to be here today, guys. But, he's sat home.
He's in jail now. He's in jail. He got sent to prison.
I think he went on the cess last night after City won the league.
Hey, fair play.
But he ended up going to prison, and then the guy was on Facebook giving him a lot of shit. So I was like, fuck it, I'll jump in and let me do it.
Yeah.
And then I've not been able to get out of it since.
I love that attitude of, fuck it, I'll just try it, I'll give it a go.
I had nothing to lose, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it, man.
I had a bit of a buzz doing music anyway, and it was like, it'll just be another ball to the arrow sort of thing.
It's that attitude in life that'll get you somewhere. I mean, like for me, when I was a kid, not to bang on about anything that we do, because that's not what this podcast is about, but just on what you've been saying there, when I was a kid, I got asked to audition for a film, and I'd never done it before, and literally in my head I just thought, fuck it, what have I got to lose?
Exactly.
And here we are now, sat here doing this podcast, you know. So like, I think that attitude in life,
you've got to
brilliant.
Yeah, you've got to have a bit of balls. Like say, even with this podcast, like it was just like, you know what, I like podcasts.
If it don't work, it don't work, does it?
If it don't work, that's it. We've
like if you never stepped in, what, you know, would it have been the same as where you are now?
I honestly don't know what I'd be doing now. Like I said, I was doing all right with music. I was getting about, I had shows coming up everywhere. Probably would have just cracked on doing that. I don't know where I would have been with that, but because this battle scene is so demanding, that kind of took a back role to music.
Does it take up a lot of your life? Like,
yeah, well, I run a business doing it now, so like,
it's just...
even on the way in, I'm sending emails to sponsors, and especially with the launching next year, the 3 divisions, it's just going to be mental.
That sounds great.
And I know you've just been saying that there's a couple of films that Eminem's producing.
Yeah.
That, for your scene as well, must do it good, no?
It'll either do it massive or it'll do it terrible.
What I mean, it like
one of them's a
portray
jokey one in it.
So one of them's Bodied, which is produced by Eminem. That's based in Canada and America. There's a Canadian league called King of the Dot, who are like probably the second biggest league in the world.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the battle rappers from there that are in the film, so it was written by a battle rapper.
All right.
So I'm guessing that film, it's won a few festival awards, so I'm guessing that's going to be, because it's battle rapper who's wrote it.
Yeah, I can't imagine Eminem would probably put his
he's not going to put his
name
brand
down
to it
like
either,
that.
you know what I mean?
No, yeah. And then the other one is a bit...
Versus, I've not seen... The only thing I know about Versus is Shotty, that I run the company. So Shotty's the biggest battle rapper to ever come from England.
Oh, really?
He's the highest viewed English-speaking rap battler ever.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So he's the villain in this film. He's never acted before. He got called into it. But Ed Lilly's won, he's won BAFTA awards. He's done quite a few things. And I know Shotty wouldn't put his brand to anything that's
So that hopefully for you guys that'll do it good, because it'd be brilliant if more people did get into it, especially in the towns as well. Like for Grimsby, like there's nothing like that in Grimsby, and I'm assuming it's the same in like the surrounding towns.
I drive round in sick whips, eating fish and chips, that kind of
so
shit.
There you go.
Grimsby,
that's the kind of lyrics that you can get from Grimsby. Do you know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying. Like if the towns like Scunthorpe and Lincoln, if they can get onto it, it can become a bigger thing, and You know, it would be brilliant.
It's a massive scene with the students. That's where it is. We're trying to take it a little bit further out. Like we've got Geo Guys, our main sponsor. So we're trying to break into the fashion side of it with merchandise. There's loads of avenues you can go. It just needs to be run like a business now, not a hobby.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's the only way. Who'd win in a rap battle, Biggie or Tupac?
Tupac.
Oh, that quick off the mark.
Tupac.
Do you reckon?
Tupac.
Because, like we were saying, he's a clever.
Yeah.
He's a clever man. But what about a fight? If there was a fight, who would win?
Right, I'll spin it back a little bit. So rap battle, I think Biggie would win in the room. Tupac would win on camera.
Yeah, this is my thing with Biggie and Tupac. You see, I think, and I've got the same theory with Jay-Z and Nas. Biggie, Nas.
Yeah.
Better lyricists, better rappers, smarter. In certain, there's some bars of Tupac's that you can't ignore, and Jay-Z's. Jay-Z, Tupac, better entertainer. By far. Like, Tupac put on a show.
I'm going to throw this microphone out the window in a minute.
No, still amazing rappers. I'm not discouraging
Nas,
that.
I'll give you. Biggie's not a better lyricist than Tupac. Tupac told stories.
Yeah, but Biggie told stories,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
Biggie told stories. So what about...
Yeah, but Tupac wrote the stories and Biggie, like, lived the stories, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, that's what we were saying before. Yeah. But again, you know, we kind of established that, I guess, Tupac was kind of a social commentator on what he was seeing. So, yeah, I mean, you know, one of my favourite Tupac... all my favourite Tupac songs are the deeper story ones, like Dear Mama, Brenda's Got a Baby, stuff like that. But then, you know, with Biggie, I think, you know, Suicidal Thoughts...
Oh, no, yeah, he was a great rapper. He was a great rapper.
Just, I can't listen to that and not go, shit, this guy's good, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the whole, like, fuck it, when I die, I want to go to hell because I'm a piece of shit and hard to fucking tell. Like, he just, he does tell a great story as well, I guess. Again, I'm fighting with an inner urge here, man. It's horrible. It's like I'm punching my sort of 17 young.
No, I get where you go
self.
with it. For me, Biggie was a lyricist, but he was a dumbed down lyricist. Anyone could understand it. Tupac, you listen to a song, you might not get the meaning 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, you've got to really listen.
Whoa, yeah. Like Brenda's Got a Baby. No one knew it was about a young black girl who had a baby at 13, was molested by a cousin.
He says that in the song, though.
But people didn't understand it at first.
Ah, right, okay.
Like, if you watch it in the film, he breaks it down when he's sat with Interscope and they're like, we're not putting a song out about a girl being molested. And he's like, this is happening everywhere.
Everywhere,
It's a lot deeper than that. Like, I think that's the thing with Tupac. Like, his lyrics are sometimes with that intense story, like, layered, you'd go, I didn't really like that song until you'd probably be on a bus one day and listen going, oh shit, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Whereas Biggie was just, you knew what he was getting.
I don't know though, because Biggie was pre-Drake, was kind of the like, he had a lot of hidden, like, he went after Nas and nobody knew about it. He went after, I think, Busta Rhymes and nobody went about it. He obviously went after Tupac and Tupac thought he meant him, and there was the whole with Who Shot You and obviously songs after that. But you know, so there was a lot of smart bars there. Like when he went in for Nas in tracks and that, like, you know, the underrated King of New York and all that. Like, people didn't get it until a while after and still don't know 100%. Like, was he going for Nas there?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there is that as well. Like, he was smart in the way of he could hide.
Yeah.
He could call you out and not know it at the same time, which was quite clever.
I think Biggie was very good. I think, like, I'm not sitting there saying he was the worst. He's like, say, he's in my top 10.
Oh yeah.
He's a great rapper. But I just think when it comes down to the top 2.
Yeah. And what about Tupac in other things then? So like acting and stuff like that. Because obviously he did some great films like Above the Rim.
Bishop and Juice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Juice. Me, what a film. Man.
Was he a better actor than Andrew Ellis?
A little bit.
Yeah, he was
just a touch.
Yeah.
He nearly got the. Did you know he nearly got one of the parts in Cool Runnings? Tupac.
You know what I thought he was going to say? That he nearly got the part in This Is England.
Tupac was very nearly Gadget.
Tupac is Gadget.
Imagine.
So yeah, film wise, because I didn't know if you were going to bring that up. You know, obviously Tupac doing other kind of avenues.
Yeah.
Apparently, I didn't know this, and when I was doing a bit of research, Biggie was scheduled to be in a film alongside Robert De Niro.
Oh, why? What film was that?
I'm not sure.
He didn't do that much research.
Wikipedia wouldn't tell me. I did try. I don't know if the film happened or not after that, but yeah, he was going to be in a film with Robert De Niro. He obviously couldn't be in it because he got shot. But yeah, I mean that's cool. Like Tupac was in some big films.
Yeah, he was
not De Niro style films though.
Yeah,
you know,
was De Niro the De Niro of men though?
De Niro? Yeah, this is like the 90s, man. You had Taxi.
Trying to throw the spanner in the works.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's all
It was pre Meet the Parents, put it that way.
I'm sure if you search my name, I was meant to be in something I've never had a talk with. I don't know how big he would be as an actor. If you watch him in interviews, he was quite quiet.
Yeah, quite cool, laid back.
Yeah, he just...
Such a
like
baller, man. Like,
oh, yeah.
That's one thing you were saying yesterday when watching it.
And I was just thinking... Fucking what a geezer! Just like I don't know. He's just like I love the big lad who's just like
didn't give a shit.
He's just cool
and he put on a show again, like Tupac.
Yeah.
Like like he put on a show like when he walked out at his album launch party. Famously, him and Puff were kind of dressed like actual like 1930s New York gangsters, and he took his name, Biggie Smalls. He took that name from a gangster film, because he got sued over that. Apparently, I didn't know as well.
All right.
The guy who something to do with the film sued Biggie, so that's why he went from Biggie Smalls to Notorious B.I.G. Because the guy was like, "That's my character's name in the film, mate. You can't."
There's a few that have done that. 50 Cent and Rick Ross and stuff.
Yeah, 50 Cent.
50 Cent, Rick Ross. They're all gangsters.
Eminem, famously named after the Sweets.
Yeah.
Do you know why Eminem's called Eminem, Tomo?
Why didn't I? Oh, let me guess.
This blew my mind. No, this blew my mind.
Why?
Do you know why?
Yeah, his name's
Marshall Mathers, Eminem.
Oh.
In his early days, he did used to write M and M.
Yeah.
So what is his real name then? Eminem's
Marshall
Mathers. Yeah. So that for me, like whenever I think of rap battles, I do think of the
8 Mile.
8 Mile. Everybody in the 313.
Eminem was a real rap battler before. 8 Mile is basically based on his life.
Yeah, and it's like, did you when that came out and you watched that?
Yeah.
Was you like, shit, man, that's a sick film?
Yeah, I loved 8 Mile.
Because one of my mates said that's overrated.
Ooh.
I know. That's what I thought.
Podcast.
You know what?
He's not coming on the podcast.
That was a brilliant film. I can't even lie. I thought.
And he was brilliant as well.
Yeah, Brittany Murphy was good.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Mackay Pfeiffer. The cast was class.
Yeah,
it was
brilliant.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like even like still now, like
I still watch that.
what's
now,
his
8 Mile.
face?
Yeah.
Who played Tupac in the Notorious is in Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
He's in that, isn't he? And now obviously he's like doing very, very well.
I think the thing with the new film, Notorious was a good film. I don't think you can judge Tupac off the Tupac film.
I didn't think it was a great film.
It was poor. I walked out the cinema.
All Eyes on Me.
Yeah, I thought it was terrible.
I said this too. You enjoyed it, didn't you?
I loved All Eyes on Me.
Yeah.
I suppose if you don't, to be fair, I've been waiting for the film for like 15 years.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
When Notorious came out, I was like, yes, they're going to do Tupac 1.
Yeah.
Men. And then it was like, they're not. And the guy they got to play him, though,
looked like him.
Shit, man. Do you remember the picture that went out a couple of years ago?
Yeah, the BT Awards.
Where, and everyone was like, because there's a whole thing. Did you know people think that Tupac's not
Well,
dead?
there's a whole conspiracy. Yeah.
I thought that for a long time. I did genuinely buy into that for a bit. Did you ever buy into it?
Still semi-do.
Yeah. I always used to say as a kid, I was like, yeah, Tupac's alive, man. He's such a philosopher. Like, he'll come back.
Because he left so many messages in his music.
Exactly. But
and everything weighed up.
But that was due to, because he called himself
Machiavelli.
Machiavelli, yeah. And then the actual real Machiavelli was a philosopher from back in the day.
Yeah, they used to say faking your own death in war.
Yeah.
You can basically surprise the enemy.
So there's shit like that, because, I mean, there's stuff like when I was a kid, one of the biggest ones was in Juicer, and it says, like, blew up like the World Trade. Like, we listened to it on the way in, and I was like, as a kid, I was going, how the fuck? Didn't realise, obviously, there was an attack in the 90s on the World Trade. Yeah.
Sick.
Someone drove a lorry into the thing. And that's where that comes from. But because of this whole thing, like conspiracy of Tupac being alive and Biggie being alive, and you know, is there anything, do you reckon, in because again, doing the research of this, like Biggie was in the frame for Tupac's death?
For me, I think it was a weird thing. Yeah, I don't think either of them had anything to do with killing each other.
Yeah,
they were both friends for a bit, weren't they?
Exactly.
Until Tupac got jumped. But
what do you reckon happened there? Being a big Tupac fan, and
with the jump or the killing, or
do you reckon that was a misunderstanding with the jumping first? Do you reckon that was a misunderstanding?
So what happened was, for what I've gathered, I've done a bit of research on this when I was a kid, just like any mad Tupac fan probably did. So Biggie was recording in the studio upstairs.
Yeah.
Tupac had got into record in the same studio and been jumped at the door by 4 lads. I can't remember the guy's name, but it basically came out who it was that was behind it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they shot him 5 times. And then apparently he was really paranoid after that incident. He didn't know who it was, but then Biggie dropped a song called Who Shot You?
Yeah.
Which is poor timed.
Yeah.
If that was me and that was one of my friends.
Do you reckon it was poor time then?
Yeah, 100%. So if you got shot now and I'm your friend, and then 2 weeks later I put a song out called Who Shot You, when you don't know.
It just don't make sense.
Yeah,
why would he do that, I guess?
I think it was
under
Bad Boys
pressure from the
marketing
record
plan,
label.
But the lyrics, like, in Who Shot You, like they're not. They don't sound like they're aimed at Tupac, but some of them can be misconstrued in that way.
It's context. If everyone's going around the media saying who shot Tupac, you're paranoid anyway.
And then Biggie goes,
you're in the same building as Bigger at the time, and all these people, and then they drop a song called "Who Shot You." You're probably gonna go, "Fuck it, he shot me."
Yeah, it was clearly him.
Yeah,
and then you're gonna go, "Who shot you? You punks didn't finish." Now you're about to feel the wrath of a menace, which he did, and which then that's what we touched on earlier.
There would have been people around him as well going, have you heard what Biggs said?
Yeah, there's obviously Suge Knight there doing his thing.
Talking his ear.
Yeah, so Suge Knight, I know you watched All Eyes on Me, so he was like, I mean, I think he's still in jail now, isn't he?
He ran someone over on the NWA shoot.
So he basically he was very into keeping it kind of fucking old school. Like you were saying before, like P. Diddy in Notorious Skills, look, I want to hear people rapping about being on the streets. I don't want to hear people rapping while they're on the streets or whatever he said. And I think Suge Knight was the opposite. He was like, if you're going to come here and talk gangster, you got to be a gangster. You got to
because he was very full on, wasn't he? Like even with his people on his label, like if you fucked with him, he'll just mess you up.
Well, there's that scene in. Have you seen the NWA film Straight Outta Compton?
No. So
there's a scene in that because Dre famously went to Death Row Records, which Suge Knight ran, and quit because he saw someone get absolutely levered for like basically not doing his told, I think, or something.
Yeah.
And then Dre and Tupac fell out. Tupac famously falling out with a lot of people because didn't he do what was it? What was the song?
California Love.
No, they did California Love, and then was it To Live and Die in LA?
Yeah.
Where it's the beginning. It says California Love Part 2. We've had that gay ass Dr. Dre. Yeah. When I heard that as a kid, I was like, "What's Dre done, man? What's Dre done?" Because Eminem had just come out. I love Dre, and I'm like, "Don't come on, Tupac."
I think the thing there was like, Tupac went to prison, then he couldn't afford bail, and Suge Knight paid him bail, so he felt like he owed everything.
Yeah. And then got with Death Row.
Which I'm assuming if someone's trying to kill you, your head's going to be all over the place anyway, innit? So you come out of jail, someone's looking after you with money and stuff.
Yeah. And then obviously after that, like, the shooting, the jumping, Who Shot You, and was it Hail Mary? Tupac's one back to it.
Hit 'Em Up.
Hit 'Em Up, that's it. Hail Mary's the other one in it. Hit 'Em Up came out. Then there was the Source Awards, 1995, when Suge basically stood in front of it. It was in New York. Yeah. Come on, you want to be without the executive producer.
And then videos.
Did Snoop get involved? Snoop and Dre got to collect an award. He's like, what? The East Coast don't love Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. That's my Snoop Dogg, by the way. It's cool,
it's good. I think you sound more like Snoop Dogg than Snoop Dogg.
In for shizzle. Like, it's like, whoa, Snoop. Hey, mate, welcome to the podcast. Lewis, move over, put Snoop down. So yeah, like we were touching on before, like that was such like their music. These two guys who'd only really been on the scene a little while, changed the face of the country for one point. 100%. Like it went mad, and like the kind of I was saying this as well. Like we were touching on it last night. Like, do you reckon both of these, either or Tupac in your thing, do you reckon he'd still be your number one spot had he not died and still been carrying on releasing music? Because I love Eminem, right?
Yeah.
I love Eminem.
I know what you're going to say. I'm same with Eminem.
Nowadays, I don't really listen to him much because I'm like, for me, I like Eminem when he's talking about his mum being addicted to drugs and him in his trouble with his ex-wife and him growing up in a trailer park and all that. Because I can't connect to that because none of that's happened to me, but it's similar enough to the council estate I come on and I can kind of go, okay, see where you're going from. Now when he's chatting, and he's releasing songs with Ed Sheeran. Why did they do that? He's releasing songs with Ed Sheeran.
You've got something against that guy, haven't you?
I mean, I like, Ed, he's all right. I've not got any disrespect against Ed Sheeran, but I just don't want to listen to.
What do you think of Ed Sheeran's rapping?
Stick singing.
Hey?
Stick to singing.
Yeah.
I'm not like I like Ed Sheeran. My missus loves Ed Sheeran, and I like a few of his songs.
You know he's a mate of mine, don't you, pal?
I know you was on Game of Thrones with Ed Sheeran, Tomo. We all know that. And fair due to anyone who does that kind of, and he's amazing. I couldn't do it. I can't sing for shit. But anyway, it's not on Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran's
doing what you're doing.
He's a great artist.
But what I'm saying is, like, I'd rather listen to that raw, untouched, unfinished Eminem. Do you think Tupac and Biggie would have kept that? Do you think they would have got... Because they only just started getting... I mean, Biggie was always rich because he sold drugs.
You find that when someone dies, people care more.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is why I think Biggie's overrated after his death.
That's what I said.
Because he got glorified more.
Because he's had one great, Ready to Die was an elite album for me. It was like top 10 hip hop of all time.
I said that I think if he'd stayed alive, would he have been as big as he?
Probably not. I think Tupac would have probably done The way his career was looking, he probably would have done another 2 or 3 albums and probably gone straight into acting.
Do you reckon? Yeah, carried on acting.
He
Yeah,
had a big acting career, didn't he?
I think Biggie would have still maybe been doing it.
I think you'd argue to get him in the top 50 if he'd been doing that.
Yeah. I think that.
Because he switched, didn't he? Because like Biggie said that again, like with obviously Ready to Die, like you say, phenomenal album, and I still think Life After Death's amazing. But he said that in that he was like, I can't talk about dealing drugs and that anymore and he still switched it up. He switched it up, and he was talking about being this playboy, even though he's like a big guy. And famously on one of them, I don't know if it's the first album actually. Sorry, this needs fact checking again. When asked in an interview on the back end of the song, of one of his songs, he was getting a blowjob. And he actually,
I remember that.
The blowjob that you're hearing on that track is a real BJ, which is mad. So he did shit like so like like I think he could have switched with the flow there, Bigger. I think he could have stood the test of time a little bit. And I agree with you on Tupac. I think he would have carried on acting.
Yeah, I think Tupac would have stepped out because I don't really know where he would have gone.
He conquered the rap world.
Yeah, he did what he needed to do. Like I say, it was all social commentary. He was talking about issues. He probably still would be doing the odd single, maybe here, especially with like Trump being elected. He would have been involved in all that. Bigger, like you say, the 90s big boy player shit kind of died out in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
it became all Eminem and angry rap, and then it kind of Jay-Z's probably the only rapper that's consistently made great music, and he's adapted to every sound.
Yeah.
Look at Nas. Nas is great, but people don't want to hear stories anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
J. Cole's probably the only one, but even J. Cole, people still go.
The left winger for England.
Yeah, J. Cole.
All right, guys, let me live it down. I think I guess it's that point of the podcast where, have we changed your mind in any way? Is he moving from 6 to like number 2 at least, or?
Oh, not number 2.
No,
I can't put Biggie above Eminem.
Nah, it's a hard one again, innit? Because again, but Eminem's had a lot more time. Fortunately for him.
But it's what they did. Like Biggie, he did one album, great, an elite album at that. Where'd you go from there?
Well, yeah, exactly.
I'd argue he's not top. I'd argue he's 5th best rapper from New York.
Okay.
And you think even if he never like sadly got shot, he wouldn't still be in your top 5? No.
I don't.
So you didn't see the potential in him?
No, like I say, he was a good rapper. He was a very good rapper. But for me, if he didn't top his first album, for example, Eminem had Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers LP, both classics.
Absolutely Slim Shady.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say like Tupac had not Better Days, Me Against the World, Strictly. Yeah,
they get better and better.
Great albums, yeah.
I think it's important for any band or any rapper or any singer, if you knock out a first album that's brilliant and everyone loves, the pressure that you add on that first album is nothing compared to what's going to happen on your second, because everyone's like, wow, that first album was brilliant, and then it's like,
look at the Arctic Monkeys now dropped an album the other day, and everyone's like,
yeah.
I mean, it is good. It is. I'm a big fan of that album, but I think it's important. It's important to.
You have to keep up, don't you?
Yeah, you've got a lot of pressure on you.
Here's one for you. Just so we've not changed your mind.
No. He's top 10.
But yeah.
I'm still
okay. I'll take that. Here's one for you, which is a little fact to end it on. Here's a mad one. So, Biggie got nominated for 4 Grammys, but he never won.
Yeah.
I don't think Tupac won one either. In 1996, he was nominated for a Grammy for Best Solo Rap Performance for his track Big Poppa.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Tupac was also nominated that year for Dear Mama, as I said before, one of my favourites, absolute banger. Guess who won it that year and what song? 1996.
96. What
rapper. Guess the song as well.
That'd be something daft for it. Vanilla Ice or something.
Coolio, Gangsta's Paradise. Beating Dear Mama.
That's a great song, though.
Well, I think the film helped because he won it on.
It's Dangerous Minds.
Dangerous Minds. That's I was going to say Suspicious Minds.
That's a good film. That
great film. And then the next year, 2 years later, 1998, Biggie was nominated again for a Grammy for Best Solo Rap Performance for Hypnotize. Again, another banger.
Yeah.
Tupac wasn't in that year.
When's that? 97.
98. This.
The
following nominees. Biggie was. This is posthumous. Biggie was dead as well. Other nominees in that year was heavyweights like Missy Elliott, LL Cool J, Busta Rhymes. Guess who they lost to that year?
Go on.
The same person that
MC
later
Hammer
would marry Tupac's love of his life.
Will Smith.
Will Smith with Men in Black.
No, it seems
Seriously, how's Hypnotised though?
It
being
sounds
beat
like
by
the
Men in Black?
success of the film.
It's the films, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's sort of the audience that gets as well. Like they become the commercial things. You know.
Yeah.
It's like nowadays, if you get a great song that's even at the Brit Awards or whatever, if you get a brilliantly written song, but if Justin Bieber's got one, chances are Bieber's going to win it.
Unfortunately, Tom,
Yeah. Love you.
I like a bit of Bieber. I can't lie.
No,
I
quite like
can't
Bieber,
do
See
it
what I mean?
to myself, man.
I think this is a whole different podcast on its own, but I mean his life's fascinating. Like the pressure that kid's got.
He's like a modern day Tupac.
He is.
Kid.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna say that now. That's weird for me to
that's
say.
some wisdom being.
But no,
dropped,
in the spotlight that he's in and the pressure that's on his shoulders, he can't live a normal life.
Yeah.
No, it's a mad spotlight.
And it's like Tupac.
He's done a lot of naughty things though, like drink driving and stuff. You can't. You
give
can't
any
excuse that.
21-year-old 50 million quid, you're going to make the headlines for whatever reason.
Oh, mate,
Yeah,
I'm 30. Give me 50 million quid. I'm gonna be dangerous.
Yeah,
I mean,
26.
if anyone wants to give any of us 50 million quid, like we're all sound, we'll just help each other
Do it
out.
as a
and
social
that, like.
commentary.
Yeah.
I'd be dead within weeks.
I think that's all we've got time for, unfortunately. We've not managed to change Lewis's mind, which, it's fair enough. It's a strong opinion. And like I say, I'm battling it.
And it was a
hard.
big one. It was such a big
It's
thing.
such
as
a big
well.
topic, man. Yeah.
Tupac and Biggie. But
Thanks very much for coming on.
Cheers for
Nice
coming
one
on.
for
I
having me.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Bison Briggz.
That for me was a learning curve.
Educational.
And what we was talking about when we said about can the rap battle not stigma, but when you talk about rap battle, will people who don't necessarily know much about it think of it as an angry sport? And when Lewis was saying there's only he's 15 years and he's only seen one fight. Or
Yeah,
something
exactly.
Like that.
That was with
which
no
I think
flop.
it's brilliant. Yeah, and it's like I love that. I think it's something that's portrayed in the not portrayed in the media, but when people watch Eminem, 8 Mile, and when they watch All Eyes on Me, and they might watch Notorious, they might think, oh, it's just loads of guys running around with guns and wanting to fight each other, and it's like that's how it has been.
Yeah.
But now it's actually it's become an art.
Yeah, I mean, rap battling, like you say, like Lewis said, then it's a sport. It is a sport.
It's a sport. It's a verbal sport.
People, or as he does now with Premier Battles, if you Google them and whatnot, have a look at them and go and get to an event, as he does with Premier Battles now, he does it in teams. So he's made it even more sport-like. He has I think one's called Shark City against whatever United or whatever. And sorry, Lewis, if you're listening, I don't know the team names. I know Shark City is one, I think. And it is a sport. It's amazing. But yeah, you're right. I guess, we touched at the intro there about the media's perception of, I guess, hip hop as a whole. It's just an art form. And we talked in the interview about, were these guys being characters, or were they actually just social commentators a lot of the time? Tupac, social commentator.
Yeah, I mean, Tupac really stood for something, didn't he? He got into what he did to try and change the world.
Well, his mum was
in
in the Black Panther movement. So
yeah, exactly.
From that stock of you stand up for what you believe in.
Yeah.
And, rightly so, man.
Yeah, of course. I mean, from what we know, from what the media write, and from what we research, back in them days in America, man, must have been so difficult.
It's crazy, man.
It's insane.
Yeah.
The way they was trapped by the police, and it's disgusting. And thankfully, everything's changed. And
well, it's I don't know. But change. Who are we to say? We don't live there. But
yeah, of course. That's what Tupac stood up to, and really sort of put that out in his music and in the way that he portrayed himself in the media. Whereas Biggie was a real street kid. He was tough. He wasn't a rapper. He was a real street kid.
Yeah.
And you can tell that in the two because they're very similar rappers, but they're not in a way. They're sort of I think the rap about Biggie will rap about real stuff that he's actually been through.
But like you say, and Tupac will commentate on stuff.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, which I think is it was interesting to learn about, and you know, it was good to get Lewis's sort of views on it and yours as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I've grown up loving that kind of music. It's been a big part of my life. Again, it always boggles my mind why. Always boggles my mind why a young white working class lad from South Manchester can be so into that music.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's crazy, but I love it. I love that music.
Well, that's it. You love what you love, yeah.
Yes, it's just it says something to me, and I love it. But yes, that's episode 2, guys. That's us kind of done. We don't know who we're having next week, so it's a surprise to us as well. Because like we said on the last podcast, I think we've recorded these 2 together. So these are kind of pilots. So we're watching these now somewhere in the future. Somewhere in the future, a slightly older Andy Ellis and a slightly older Thomas Turguzzler is watching the stats on these podcasts and thinking, you know what, it's going to be fun. Let's do more.
And it's like, you know, let's not. I mean, we've enjoyed it, and the guests have enjoyed it.
I've loved today, and
it's been brilliant. So hopefully, you know, if you guys want to hear more, then just tag us in on Twitter and let us know what you think.
Who you want to see?
Yeah, who you want.
We said that last time, didn't we? Who would you want to see? Let us know again if you think, oh, you know what, actually, there's this guy who I know does this, and it's, you know, it's a bit mad. Let us know. And we want to talk to people who do mad stuff or interesting stuff and have got a strong opinion about something that they think's a bit daft, a bit overrated, I guess.
Yeah, that's what we want to know. We want to chat to real people. So yeah.
Yeah, I hope you've learned something anyway, guys, and I hope you come back for more. Thank you very much. Get us on Andy LP Ellis on Twitter.
Yeah, and Thomas Turgoose 1.
Yeah, that's the one. Cheers,
Perfect.
guys.
Thank you.
Goodbye.